is Maria Mejia.
And I'm David Pataki.
We are both entrepreneurs and just ambitious people in general. We have both grown various businesses, and we are here to share our fountain of knowledge with you, helping you not only grow your business, but also to avoid common pitfalls.
As Maria said there, yeah, we've got many years' experience. I may have a few more years than Maria, but only a few.
Only a few.
What we found is that there are lots of obstacles, lots of roadblocks, a lot of pitfalls, or even just little potholes that you run into as a business. And if you can avoid those, it can help your business be so much more successful. So Maria and I thought it would be a fantastic idea to pool our resources, pool our knowledge into a podcast or a video or whatever it is, some sort of content to give to you, to be available to you, to hopefully help you avoid some of the pitfalls so that you can get to your goal, your dream business quicker, easier, faster, with more revenue.
Yep. And the reason we call this the 5% Club is not only once you've listened to this, have something written down. Write whatever comes to mind as you're listening to us. Once you have something written down, that means you are in the 5% Club. You are learning and you are growing your business.
And why we're calling it the 5% Club, thank you for Maria for bringing that up, is that most businesses, I know it's a sad thing to think about it, but most businesses run the most part of their business in their head. They have their vision up there, they have their plan up there, their goals are up there, but nothing is written down. A hack to business success is to get stuff written down, and for a number of different reasons that we're going to explore over the next series of podcasts, over the next number of weeks, months, years, decades, however long it takes for us to get it out there for all of you to hear.
Awesome. Now that David's stepping down from his soapbox, believe me, I've heard him be on that soapbox many times before this. Today, we kind of wanted to go over how is it that you start a business. So one day you decide, after many days, weeks, months, years of thinking of this, amazing idea, you decide, okay, I'm going to start this side hustle, or okay, I'm going to start this business selling whatever it is that you're passionate about. What is your first step that you should be taking?
The first step is you've got the idea, right? And usually most people they go to their spouse, they go to
a friend,
whatever it is, a friend, a relative, and says, what do you think of this idea? Not
it's
always
awesome.
The best idea.
Spouses are always supportive of you, no matter what.
Well, what are the other? Either the spouse is overly supportive, or the spouse is like, nope, you can't do it. There's no business there. They shut you right down. And not that I'm saying you avoid your spouse in this. Anything, when you're into entrepreneurs, communication with your loved ones, regardless to how they're connected, whether they're their mother, whether their wife, their husband, whatever it is, your kids, different stages, you must communicate with them on where you are in the business. But once you've got past that original shock of whether you talk to your spouse or not talk to your spouse, and past your friends, what you need to ask yourself, is the business idea I have, no matter how good it may seem, does it actually solve a real problem? Is there a problem in the world or in your area that needs to be that is solved by your business idea? Now, you might think, well, that's a little bit hard to think about. Well, let's think about coffee, for example. If you want to start a coffee business, is that solving a problem? Well, not really. People want coffee for sure, but that space is pretty crowded out there, right? You've got your low ends with your Tim Hortons and your country style, and then you've got your higher ends with your Starbucks and the independents and so on. So where are you going to fit in there? If you want to just be a regular coffee place, then what you're actually doing is there is only so much of a pie for that low-end coffee market. So if you're trying to enter that market, then you're actually trying to steal a little bit from everybody else, and that makes it much more difficult. So you got to figure out, okay, so I'm still passionate about this. Like, it's okay. If you're passionate about it, then you got to think, okay, what can I do that will make it 10 times better than what already exists? That's what Starbucks did back in the time when they wanted to charge $5, $6 for a cup of coffee. They said, I know no one's doing this right now, but what can I do to make this cup worth $5 or $6? Now you have to do the same thing, whether it's when it's in a saturated market. But if it's in a market or it's in a space that has very little competition, or there is a problem, and that problem is actually a bigger problem, because guess what? The bigger the problem, the bigger the market is, and the bigger opportunity for you to have a successful business. So while you can do that sort of superficially, and once you've kind of figured out, is this actually solving a problem, then you need to do some research. Get online. We've got this wonderful thing called the interweb and all that fun stuff out there. We have to look at that, and we got to go, okay, who's out there? Type in the questions that you would ask if you're trying to find your business and see what other businesses come up. And then what I want you to do, if there are some competition out there, call them up, right? Don't be afraid to call them up, okay? And when it comes to running or starting a business, mindset is actually probably almost, if not more important than the business idea. Even if you have a great business idea and it solves a big problem, but if you don't have the mindset, the tenacity, the persistence to keep going, then you're not going to be able to succeed. Because I'll tell you, no matter what you do, no matter how great the idea is, on average, there's going to be lots of roadblocks. There's going to be stumbling blocks, whether it's with finances, whether it's for distribution, whether it's for advertising, marketing, sales, leads, conversions. I mean, there are so many different areas that you have to consider, and you're not going to be an expert at all of them. So you've got to figure out ways to get through that. So once you've got a great idea and you've researched it a bit and you know that it's solving a problem, or you're able to 10 times it in an already sort of crowded market, then you got to make sure, am I prepared to do this? Am I prepared to put my nose to the grindstone and talk to people, do something? And I'll tell you, I mean, you can have great ideas and you can be Facebooking or Instagram, whatever it is, doing all online research, emailing and all that. That's only so good. Then you got to pick up the phone or go into different places and talk to people. You have to get over that hurdle of actually talking to people, because you're going to have to hire people potentially. You're going to have to talk to suppliers. You're going to have to talk to vendors or whatever it is. You got to talk to the bank. You got to talk to, online merchant. There are so many things that you have to be able to talk about. So you got to make sure that you're willing to do all that. Now, once you've got to that stage, Maria, what would be the next steps?
All right, so we've done the research and we're ready to actually, start building the foundations of our business. So you can do that by, first off, my personal favorite is having some sort of record-keeping system in place. So I'm an accountant and I'm all about that numbers. So I always advise people to have a record system of some sort. That can either be, the old-fashioned way. Go to your Office Max or your Office Depot and get yourself one of those old-fashioned ledgers where you just write down what you bought, how much it cost. Or you can also use an Excel sheet if you are a computer whiz such as myself. You enter in everything just the same way. You make it all nice and pretty. A third option that you also have is to use an actual bookkeeping software. There's many out there. Lots of paid programs such as QuickBooks, Xero, FreshBooks. Or if you're just starting out, I often try to implore people into using Wave. It's free, it's easy, and it's a good stepping stone just to get your feet wet. And you have to do that at the start because, think about, what did you buy 1 year ago today? Do you still have that receipt?
Wait a sec. I might have the receipt somewhere here.
Right.
No, darn it. I
No.
must have lost it.
And if for some odd reason you do have that receipt, can you read what the price was, what the item was, what date did you buy it? Did you use your credit card? Did you use your checking account? Did you use cash? How much tax? That is the information that the government's going to need when it comes time to file your taxes. If you can't read it, you can't claim it on your taxes. So having some kind of record keeping from the get-go will save you so much stress when it does come time to file your taxes. So now you have an Excel sheet where you just enter everything in. You know, what's the next step? Excuse me. You know, you can talk to a professional, see what they say that you should do.
Maria, so what are the what are the benefits doing it yourself on paper, doing it yourself on Excel, or doing it inside again, a bookkeeping program, or hiring a professional? Can you just kind of run through the 3 or the 4 different areas? What are the pros and cons of each of those?
So the pros of, first off, the first 3 options, doing it by yourself, is, you know, you're hands-on. You see everything that you've entered in. You know, you keep everything on track. A con of that, though, is who wants to be sitting on their computer 1-2 hours every single day entering data in? Who wants to be at the end of the month spending 5, 10, 15 hours entering a whole month's worth of data? That's when you hire a professional. They can do it much more quickly, much more efficiently for you. They can set up processes. They will know, you know, there's lots of softwares coming out every single day. For example, there's many different ways to, you know, capture receipt information. So you can take a picture, you can scan it, you can forward it on email, you know. Not all of us want to stay up to date on those different softwares that are coming in and out of the market. Having a professional in your team, you know, they keep up with all that stuff. They let you know, okay, this is a software that you should be using with whatever your bookkeeping system is. There's no cons on having a professional. Just kidding. A con, if there was to be one, for hiring a professional is communication can sometimes break down. So you should do research on who is it that you'll be choosing as kind of your partner in crime when it comes to your finances. Are they reliable? Do they get back to you in a reasonable time? Do they have the knowledge that is needed for maybe your certain field? Different accountants specialize in different areas, different markets. So making sure that you have someone who knows and understands your business.
Just listening to you there, I'm thinking about what accounts to put different receipts in. Like if I'm doing it myself, do I know where to put the, you know, if I buy a suit jacket for presentations, where does that fall into, right? If I buy a meal for just myself while I'm out visiting a client, is that a receipt that I keep? Or if I'm doing advertising on Facebook, like all that type of stuff, where do I put that? Is that something that CRA cares about?
Yep, the CRA cares about pretty much any money that's moving around. So the first example that you said, David, is having a suit jacket for your business. The CRA is very gray. Okay, so we are in Canada, so I will be saying CRA a lot, the Canadian Revenue Service. So they are kind of gray when it does come to articles of clothing. If it is specifically for your business and industry, and you can prove that it's not going to be used outside of your business, you can claim it. And so I always put that in a special account or a special area saying, this is clothing, detail it out. Say, okay, this is a suit jacket specifically for my business or for my industry because we have to have a certain look. For example, like if you are a lawn contractor and you have like a certain uniform that you need certain footwear and things like that, you can write that off, have it detailed out. Another thing you mentioned was meals to go out and to see clients. Have that detailed. Have it written on the receipt and in your Excel sheet or your QuickBooks saying this was for a meal with the client Joe and his business is lawn maintenance. Have that all detailed out. That way, if the CRA does come knocking and say, hey, what was all these receipts for, you have it right there. I think you asked another question, but I can't think of what it was now. AdWords. So you're advertising on Facebook. That's completely, you can write that off on your taxes. The CRA is fine with that. Keep track of, so another thing that just came to mind is sales tax. I get that question a lot with new business owners. Should I register for sales tax even though I'm below the threshold? You should do it because you can claim any taxes that you pay. Facebook, Google Ads, any vendors that you purchase from may and will charge you HST, GST, or if you're in another province, their provincial sales tax as well. You can claim that back. You can say, hey, I was charged $5 in sales tax. I want to claim it back or against any sales tax I charged on my products or services. Yeah.
Right. See, in just that, short conversation, there was questions that were answered that I wasn't 100% sure on. And if I'm a new business just starting out, it's like, do I know where to put this? And it's probably fine for first 1, 2, 3, 4 years, whatever. But at some point, at some point you may get audited, and that could be an issue. But on the other side of things, you may not be getting full write-offs, or your tax planning, your tax preparation could be all off because you're not crediting or whatever it is into the right accounts.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, there are many accounts. If you want a great idea of, what accounts that you should be putting things into, look at if you're a sole proprietorship, if you have a business that's you're just running by yourself, look at the T2125. Don't quote me on that. Actually, yeah, I do. The T2125 is called the income from sole proprietorship, sole businesses. And on there, you'll see a list of different expenses, such as rent, your bank fees if you have a bank account, purchases of the actual products, and utilities. If you run your business out of your home, you can claim part of the utilities, the internet, the hydro, things like that. And if you're a corporate business, you should hire a professional, as they will know more intricate information. But if you just want a general idea to start with, look at the T125 and then talk to them. Let them know, like, hey, I'm having a corporate business. Where should I be putting these expenses? Or where are you putting these expenses? That way I can have an idea of how to make your job easier as well.
Great information, Maria. One thing that I learned as well, being an entrepreneur over the years, if you don't keep your books up to date, truth be known, there were times where I fell behind on the HST, and guess what? CRA is serious when it comes to HST, and when you wake up one day and can't access any money in your business account, and you kind of question why that is, it's because CRA has decided that they're going to take the funds out because you owe them. So that was one of the lessons I learned the hard way. And from that moment on, I decided I better make sure that I have my books looked after by a professional on a regular basis.
For sure. Professionals are there to help you stay track. They will, remind you of different deadlines. They'll remind you of anything. Okay, so COVID, for example, nobody was expecting that. It came out of way left field. Many professionals kept their clients up to date on many, new tax breaks, tax benefits, forgivenesses that were happening, new loans that were coming out, and even for our sole proprietorships, new credits that they could take advantage of. So that's what they're there for, to help your business.
Okay, so I hope that that gives you a little bit of a foundation on when you're at the very beginning stage, the idea stage of you've got the idea. Now what? Hopefully, I've got you with the mindset, with the research. Hopefully, Maria has been able to help you with the bookkeeping side of things. Where should I go? The different ways that you can do it, either by yourself or with a professional, and the ramifications, because the CRA is serious. Like if you want this to be a proper business, you need bookkeeping right from the beginning. I'm not suggesting that you need to go out there and hire a professional right off the bat, though I recommend it, because when you are spending 15 hours a week or 10 hours a week, 30 hours a month, or whatever it is, that is time away from your core business. So if you're able to hire that out, and it turns out to be you're only paying someone that takes them 4 or 5 hours, where it takes you 20 to 30 hours, that time saved is well worth even more. It's more valuable to you than the fee it would cost to have a bookkeeper working on your books on a monthly basis.
Mm-hmm. Just think about think about how many products you can sell, how much service you can give in that 10 hours that you're working on your books. And if you're working on your books, you don't 100% know that they're done correctly, because at the end of the year, you might give it to your accountant and they're like, well, now I have to do 10 extra hours because you actually didn't categorize things correctly. That fee can really add up.
And another advantage of the professional in the beginning is if you're putting them in the wrong accounts. I mean, that could be part of what Maria was talking about there, an extra 10 hours or more at the end. But if you're not doing certain things, a professional might be able to pick that out and say, look, if you do it this way, you're actually saving yourself money or time or taxes. And at the end of the day, a bookkeeper is not an expense. It's always an investment. As long as you've got the right bookkeeper that communicates with you, like Maria said. We at your Financial Success Matrix, our whole mantra, our mission statement is to be there to close that gap between being just CRA compliant to actually being a profitable business. So when we're working on your books and we see where areas that we can help you improve on, or if we're seeing that you're trending in a certain way, we can give you recommendations and help you right the ship before it gets too far off in the wrong direction.
Yeah. All right. So we've talked about, the idea phase, the market research, and the bookkeeping side of things. Oh, okay. So now you have all that ready. You know there's a market. You have your Excel sheet ready, waiting for things to be entered in. The next step is to register that business. If you're sole proprietorship, you can do your business under your name. My name is Maria Mejia. I could start a business called Maria Mejia, and I don't have to register that. But if I wanted to run a candy store and call it Maria's As Sweet as Her Sweets, I'm going to have to register that business name. And that is usually done with the province that you live in. Or if you want to make it a corporation, you have to register that with the government as well, the federal government, not just provincial government.
And that can be all done online, right, Maria?
Yep, that can be done easily online. Of course, everything comes at a fee, so you can pay a professional to register your business name. They'll get your name registered. They'll set up with the sales tax. They'll set you up with a bunch of other things. Or you can also do it by yourself. It'll be a bit less costly, but you do have to make sure that you have registered properly. Different industries also require different registrations. For example, accountants, they just need to be registered with a business name and an HST, whereas landscaping, you have to register for WSIB here in Ontario, and other liabilities depending on which province that you're in as well.
While you bring up liabilities, make sure that you research or look into whatever insurance that you may need for the business that you're in. Liability is probably good for pretty much any business, general liability, but there could be errors or in emissions, there could be other property and so on, but definitely look into it. There are lots of insurance brokers out there that work for you and help you answer all your questions. But make sure you shop it around as well, because different brokers deal with different people. Like I know there are businesses like cooperators, which is basically their own entity and they have their own products. But insurance brokers, they deal with multiple providers, so they're able to find, they have a little bit more options than just a regular insurance company. I just recommend that you shop around, because you don't want to be paying more than you need to, but you want to make sure that you're covered.
So now that you're registered, I highly recommend, once you've taken your certificate of, once you have that certificate of registration, go to a bank, open up a business bank account. Whether you're doing it as a sole proprietorship or as a corporation, open up a separate account. At the end of the year, whoever it is that's doing your taxes is not going to want to weed through your personal expenses. They don't want to have to pick out every single monthly Netflix, Disney Plus, random coffee from Tim Hortons or Starbucks. If you have that business account, that's way less work that's need to be done at the end.
And more accountable for sure. Now that I think that's going to be enough information this time. There's quite a bit there. We're going to continue to build on this, so make sure you check in with us for our next episode. We want, as we said, we want to help you avoid some pitfalls, some roadblocks, some big dips in the road, or whatever it is that may find its way in front of you, because we've been there, we've seen most of it. Not everything, of course, but most things are avoidable. So what we're going to do is do what we can to point out the obstacles and give you solutions on how to get around them. Tips on how to save money, how to save time, all those fun stuff. So hopefully you'll stay tuned to further episodes when we address other issues.
And we hope that you have written something down, because if you have written anything down to help your business, welcome to the 5% Club. So we hope to see, or we hope you will listen in it for next time.
Right, and if you've got this on your podcast provider, if you could rate it, that would be fantastic. If you can share it, that would be awesome as well. Just look for us as well. We do other social media events on Facebook and so on. So just look for us, your Success Matrix, because we are here to help you.
Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.
Until then.
Bye.